everyone, it's me Angel. This is my first YouTube makeup tutorial. I will be walking you through all the steps of this makeup look. So to start off, I'm using the Becca Ultimate Coverage Complexion Cream. I'm working that into my skin with an It Cosmetics buffing brush. I sort of pat it into my skin just so it melds with my skin texture. Also, it'll help it stay on longer. Next I'm going over facial hair areas, which would have a gray undertone with this Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, just as an extra layer of pigmentation basically to cover up the gray undertone. And then right after that I will be using the Too Faced Lip Injection Extreme for a little bit of a plumping effect, but mostly to moisturize my lips in preparation for lipstick. Underneath my eyes, I'll be using the Maybelline Age Rewind Concealer in a sort of triangular shape, as well as down the center of my nose and my forehead, just for a highlighting effect and also to cancel out any, again, undertones of under eye circles and stuff like that. I'm working that in with a Real Techniques buffing brush. Now onto the I'm setting it basically with the yellow and beige highlight shades from the Lorac Pro Contour palette, just with an old-fashioned makeup sponge. Same areas that I placed the concealer basically. I also put all over my face this just setting powder from It Cosmetics called Bye Bye Pores. I just didn't show that part. So now I'm going to be using the light contour shade from the same palette to finally start to contour using a MAC natural hair brush. It kind of is at an angle so it hugs your cheekbones and just it's just a lot easier to use. Also a little bit under my nose to shorten that or give the illusion of a shorter nose. I'm working into my hairline now, the same color I had just used just to fill in where my little baby hair is just a little struggling a bit, and then going in with the darker color as well, just to make that melds into my actual hairline. So now on my lid, I'm using the MAC Pro Longwear Painterly Paint Pot as a base with an Urban Decay synthetic hair brush. I'm going to let that set for a little bit while I move on to my eyebrows, but there's the base for my eyeshadow. So now I will be using the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in this color, Soft Brown. I'm using a Japanesque eyeliner brush. I prefer it over a brow brush just because it's a little thinner, so I have more control over the product, and it's just sharper and just easier. It's kind of hard to describe what I'm doing, or at least how to do it on yourself, just because I know my own face. So it just takes practice basically. I'm not paying attention to the actual hairs on my eyebrow. Otherwise, I just have straight across the brows. But yeah, maybe I'll make a separate video on that just so it'll be more clear how to do one's brows. Okay, now on to the eyeshadow. I'm going to be using the Lorac Pro Mattes palette in the lightest shade called Bear. I will be using a Real Techniques limited edition Bold Metals brush. Just to work that over the entire lid. You can basically use any sort of larger brush just because you need to cover the entire eyelid area. And honestly, you could even use your fingers too, so no need to be precise. So now I'm going in further defining just the outer areas, just because the lighter color kind of washed everything out. So now I'm just adding more dimension with a slightly darker brown color called Latte, mixing it with an even darker brown called Corduroy, and just blending that in with a smaller but still fluffy brush until it is blended to my liking. And now in the center of the lid, I'm using this Smashbox eyeshadow trio. It's called Quick Take. I'm not sure what this one specific shade is called, but it's a goldy copper kind of orangey, and that's going on my mobile lid, which is the area of the lid which moves when you open and close your eyes. I'm going in with the darkest color called Chocolate, the darkest brown, and working that on the outer part of my mobile lid, just to, again, just further add dimension and just complete the look essentially. I'm going to be adding some black too, but that comes first, the dark brown. So again, just blending it until I feel like there's no, obvious seams. I'm using this NYX Wonder pencil in the shade medium, and my inner eyelid and a rim, I guess you could say, just to brighten it and seem more awake, essentially. Now I'm taking this NYX Glam, it's like a liquid glitter, essentially. It's in like a beigey nude kind of color, just in the center, and then I'm using a gold from NYX as well, in the center, and then more towards the outer corner. Now I'm using the They're Real push-up liner, for my liner, obviously. It's super easy to use. It's like a silicone head, so you don't have to worry about, I don't know, pushing too hard, because it'll move with the pressure that you apply. And I follow my lower lid, I guess you would say. My lower lash line, I just follow that line and sort of extend it, and then that's how I get the shape, and I just fill it in. It's a process. And then I'm using the Lights Camera Lashes Best Info Duo. It's one side is a regular mascara. It's from Tarte, this duo, but I start out with that first, and then I go above my lashes too, you know what I mean? Like, I don't just sweep from underneath, just so they're fully coated on on all sides. It's completely coated in mascara. I just feel like that helps a lot for me, just to get a nice lashy look. And now I'm using the other side, which is the Best Info. It's got these little mini fibers that'll help lengthen your lashes. So yeah, you just swipe that on after the mascara. For my lower lash line, I'm using the Tight Line from IT Cosmetics. I use it vertically just to get some definition, but then also horizontally, like you normally would, just to sort of brush out any clumps. But yeah, I love this stuff. And then the next thing I'm using is IT Cosmetics blush in Pretty and Puny, and I had mentioned that in a previous video that I made. I'm using a Real Techniques duo fiber brush to work that into my cheeks, just above where I put the contour, not too high up, not too low, and more towards the outer sides of my face. This is my favorite part ever. This is a highlight. I'm using from Laura Geller. It's called what is it called? It's called Gilded Honey. It's the most beautiful highlighter you'll ever see in your life. It just makes your skin look wet and like kissed by the sun or something like that. I don't know. And to tie it all together, I'm adding a little of that same color in my inner corners. Onto the lips, the cherry on top. So I'm using this NYX lip liner in the color Bloom, just to go all over my lips, just to sort of get a general color. I'm going to be using a bunch of different colors, but I will be starting with that. Now I'm using the Urban Decay Anarchy lip pencil, going over the same areas and filling it in, but also on my upper lip I'm going to be making that a little fuller. It takes a little getting used to when you start to make your lip a little bigger. It feels awkward, but once you get the shape right and everything, it makes such a huge difference in your makeup look. So try it. And so now I will be going in with just a random Ulta like fuchsia lipstick color, and then on top of that I'm doing a slightly lighter fuchsia, which is the Urban Decay lipstick that matches the lip liner. Now I'm using this MAC lipstick in the color Rebel. It's like a dark maroon, but which would make sense, but I love putting that in the corners of my mouth, just to make some definition. I think everyone should use more than one color on their lips, hence the fact that I'm using this as well, which is a super light one from Lorac called Showgirl, and that's just to make them pop, you dig? So now I'm taking my hair down, but not before I finish my eyeshadow look with this black color, just to define, make it a little more glamoroso, a little more dramatic, and I'm blending that out just so it's not too harsh. So I'm setting my whole entire face with Evian facial spray. It's just mineral water, but I love it so much. You have to get it. And then also now I'm moving on to my hair. I'm going to be using a curling wand, working from the bottom up, just curling away from my face. Nothing special, except when I get to the top, I like to pull up on the hair before I let go of it, just so it cools down in an up position. I already have volume, so now I'm going to shake it out, and then brush it out after I tousle it a little bit, but yeah, just to make the hairs come together and just to have a very polished look, so that's essentially my entire makeup video. I hope you loved it, and yeah, let me know if you want to see more.